Let's rock, baby.
Hey everybody, Kyle here today. So, I'm filming this on Halloween, so I hope your guys' Halloween is going smoothly, or I guess in this case, I hope everyone's Halloween was fun. I'm filming this on Halloween, and I just kind of like rolled out of bed, and just like kind of one of those things where I'm just like, I kind of want to get this out. I'm having fun reading One Piece again, and we're on volume 5 now, and we are going to talk about that volume specifically today. So, I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys like and subscribe. I'm having fun doing these. If you guys want these to come out more often, please support it. So, thank you. And we're going to go right into it. So, chapter 36 begins, and we see that Django's hypno ring, right? It does a lot of damage. He's like destroying trees and wiping like trees out as he's chasing after Miss Kaya. And it cuts back over to Luffy and Zoro, and Zoro's fighting off Bucci, and he tells Bucci to get out of his way, or I'm gonna kill you. And we see that Bucci is just out of his mind, right? Because he's been hypnotized by Django, and he freaking is fighting Zoro, and Zoro just freaking straight up just one shots him, right? And it's just like, I'm just like laughing because I'm just like, dude, like Zoro's just so broken. He's just so OP. It just feels like he's the main character at sometimes, like especially right now early on. I don't know, like between Luffy and Zoro, I think they're almost dead even. I think Luffy might have a slight advantage because he's main character, plot armor. But anyway, as we go in deeper with this chapter, I noticed that Luffy's attacks aren't really like phasing Kuro much at all. Kuro's just kind of like dodging, but Luffy's also kind of dodging. It's almost like they're kind of like neck and neck. It almost seems like it's an even fight so far, and this chapter is pretty entertaining to me. And we see that Usopp gives this really nice speech where he's like, I won't let you lay a finger on those kids. And his body, he's like the only human character in this chapter. I kind of noticed, or like in the series thus far, his body actually gives out from exhaustion. I think the best moment from this chapter is just how easily the Zoro is just taking out these characters, and Luffy just seems like he's just warming up against Kuro. I think that's probably my favorite part. But I think it's kind of interesting that even the side characters like Django are pretty OP. But yeah, I think overall, decent chapter. I'm excited where this goes on this reread. So if you guys are enjoying this retrospective, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. The better the videos do, the more I will put them out. So thank you, everybody. And we're going to go into chapter 37. We're going right into chapter 37, and I thought it was pretty amusing that Zoro, his directions is hilarious. But then again, I can't really blame him because I don't really know like east north very on the top of my head, so I guess I can't really judge. But I thought it was pretty funny how Usopp's telling Zoro to go east through this forest, and he just says right or left. So I guess Zoro's always had bad direction sense. So I thought it was until he got later in the story, when he gets his cursed swords is when his direction goes terrible. But whatever, it's pretty funny though. But that was a pretty funny start. So right after that, it cuts to Luffy, and Kuro just duking it out and going head to head and fighting each other. And we see that Kuro's speed is a lot higher than Luffy's, and Luffy's kind of like trying to do all of his like basic attacks, like his pistol, his whips. And we see that Kuro just jumps on top of his arm and then just kind of just drills him right in the face. I thought that was pretty funny that Kuro was able to like jump on top of Luffy like that arm and just kind of just knock him down like that. I thought that was pretty funny. But now we get an insight on Kuro's backstory, and we see that Captain Kuro was just tired of being a pirate and being hounded by the Navy, so he decides to use Django's power of hypnotization, and he hypnotizes one of the Marines and one of his own crew members. I thought it was pretty interesting that he actually gets on a small boat and goes over there and takes out the entire fleet by himself. not saying Kuro's like weak or anything, because I mean, but like, damn, he's, you know, these early villains are pretty powerful. So, I mean, Kuro isn't like the strongest character, but like, it is a test. It's showing that Kuro is no slouch. So that's pretty interesting. But towards the end of the chapter, we see Luffy telling Kuro, he's like, "Don't want a reputation? Don't be a pirate." You know, I thought that was kind of cool how Luffy just takes out one of his claws when he gets serious. I noticed that Luffy is really OP and kind of one-shotting a lot of these characters early on. Doesn't seem like he's really trying at all. But overall, I enjoyed the chapter. My favorite moment, I like the Kuro backstory. I think it's pretty cool that this character is like really smart, and it's kind of like Kuro's like the brain and Luffy's like the brawn, and they're kind of like going at each other. I think it's kind of fun. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this content, please keep supporting it. I hope we can reach 500 subscribers at the end of the year. That would be really cool. Okay, so we're jumping right into chapter 38, right? And I noticed the fact that Django, he looks a lot like Steve Tyler of Aerosmith. So I thought that was kind of funny. I'm sure Oda has been inspired by many pop culture icons, but I thought that was funny to finally notice that just now. I'm sure that's been well known in the One Piece community, but for some reason it just randomly hit me as I was reading this. So he's starting to try to hypnotize Miss Kaya because he finally caught up to the kids, and the kids are trying to stop him from this happening. Miss Kaya's like keeping her eyes shut. She's like, "I won't write a will, and I won't be hypnotized." And it's funny that these kids are like hitting him with all these like shovels and stuff, and yeah, I thought that was kind of a riot. And we see that Luffy and Kuro are going at it really hard right now, and Luffy shatters one of his cat claws, and going on and on about how Kuro is basically telling Luffy, he's like, "You want to know how scary a real pirate is?" And he's like annihilating his own crew, and he's doing a slouching out of the bag attack, I think is what it was called. And I was like, this is pretty silly, right? All he's doing is slouching. And the next thing you know, he's just killing everyone, even his own crew. So that's pretty brutal, man. Kuro is just kind of he could have a lot of potential if he wasn't such a piece of garbage. He's pretty smart, though, I will say. You know, coming up with 1,000 plans, it's pretty hard to do. But yeah, I'd say this chapter was pretty good. I think my favorite part of the chapter, honestly, was probably Luffy kind of, you know, telling him that, like, what is wrong with you? Those are your friends. I think that was kind of cool. You could tell that Luffy's getting pissed off, and he's showing off he's, like, giving this fat flex. Just, it was good. Overall, I'm enjoying it. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and if you guys want to share your favorite moments down below of these early One Piece chapters. So, jumping right into chapter 39, and I apologize for the background noise. We have a big storm going on right now, and we're supposed to get an even bigger one tonight. So people are kind of sort of cleaning up this shit going on outside. So I apologize, but what are you gonna do? But yeah, chapter 39. It starts off with Luffy getting mad that Kuro is killing his own men and they're suffering, and Kuro's like, well, that's too bad. Now I can't put them out of their misery. Now they're just going to be suffering and crying and moaning and from agony and pain, and I can't put them out of their misery. So I thought that was kind of disturbing, but I wonder if the One Piece anime remake will make a lot of these scenes more graphic and brutal, so people can't say One Piece is a kiddie show. That would be pretty cool, right? If they did like an R-rated One Piece, that would be chef's kiss, right? So we see the hypnotist has actually got to the point where he's tired of messing around Django, and every time I see him I think of Steve Tyler, so it makes me bust up laughing. So he's he's quite literally beating the shit out of some kids today. If anyone's seen Bad Santa, you know what I'm talking about.
What the fuck happened to your eye? He has black eyes, huh?
But I thought that was really funny because that scene from that movie was playing inside my head. So I was like cracking up laughing while I was reading this chapter. And we see that Zoro is finally catches up to Django. But he's at the exact moment we see that Kaya just finished writing out her will. And there's a funny moment where Django's like, I may be a murderer, but I'm a man of my word. So he's getting ready to execute Kaya after she wrote out the will. And Zoro finally makes it in time, so he cuts a branch to get Usopp a better view to use his slingshot, and he uses his special attack Exploding Star and just drills Django out, or I should call him Steven Tyler at this point, because now that I see it, I can't unsee it. He just knocks him out, right? I thought that was cool. And then we get this final shot of Luffy doing his Gum Gum Bell, so he grabs Kuro. I thought it was pretty wild that Luffy's actually catches Kuro during his attack, I should mention. That was pretty cool. Pretty fast speed. Speed of sound, feet maybe? So he catches Kuro, and then he holds him in place, and then he stretches his head out and like really far, and then he just Gum Gum Bell and just bashes Kuro in and just knocks him fucking out, bro. Pretty cool. Solid chapter. I enjoyed it. I think my favorite moment was just, I love the synergy, right? Like, Usopp hasn't even really been with Luffy long, but the synergy with the characters is pretty funny. I just love that Zoro has horrible directions. Kind of like me, you know. I wouldn't say I would know north, east, and west. You know, I wouldn't say I know all that very well either, but I thought it was funny that, like, the combination of Zoro using the sword and then Usopp using the sniper, you know, pretty cool. That was probably my favorite part of the chapter. Let me know what your guys' favorite part in the chapter below, and we're going to chapter 40, so thank you guys for watching up to this point, and let's carry on. So chapter 40 begins with Luffy knocking Kuro out, right? And we go and see that Usopp and everyone is celebrating after the defeat of the Black Cat Pirates. And we see the whole town is wondering where Usopp is, wondering where the town liar is. And I think it's kind of funny that they all can't get motivated because Usopp isn't telling lies and creating chaos in the village today. I thought that was pretty funny. And Miss Kaya is asking Mary, who miraculously survives that brutal assault. And she's asking Mary to say that nothing happened and to keep it on the down low, that the village was attacked by pirates. I thought that was pretty cool. And we see that Miss Kaya is preparing something for Usopp. So I thought this was a pretty good chapter, a little aftermath kind of thing going on. Luffy gives a big speech saying that he'll be king of the pirates because the Black Cat Pirates are asking who he is. And he's like, I'm Luffy. I'm Monkey D. Luffy. Excuse me. I'll be the king of the pirates. I thought that was pretty cool. These early chapters are something, you know? Like, there's like a special vibe to it. You feel like Oda is trying to really set the building blocks for his story and blueprint, I should say. And I'm enjoying it. In a retrospective, looking at this, I think these early chapters are really tame, right? Like it doesn't grasp me, but nostalgia goes hard, and I'm having a good time because I remember back in like 2004, so I remember watching and tuning into 4Kids, and I remember the Syrup Village arc is probably where I tuned in at some point. It was in one of the first episodes I ever saw was actually Zoro's backstory, and I think like maybe nostalgia is carrying this, but these early chapters aren't like super good. They're just kind of mediocre. But there's some cool stuff in here that's like keeping my attention. But like if you don't have nostalgia, I'm not sure if you would like these early chapters. But yeah, volume 5 is definitely getting better. And after rereading it again after like 5-6 years, I don't remember. It was back in like 2015. It was before Overwatch came out. That game kind of took over my life for a while. So if you guys are enjoying this and you've made it this far, please like, subscribe, appreciate it. And we're gonna go into chapter 41. So So chapter 41 begins with a very emotional moment, actually, with Usopp telling his crew that they're disbanded, and telling the kids that it's time for them to chase their dreams. And I thought that was pretty emotional. And, you know, there's a nice panel of everybody crying and stuff. And I was like, damn, that hits deep. You know, they all want to have dreams of their own, and Usopp's telling everybody to go chase them. So I thought that was a pretty touching moment in the story. So good start. But it's not done right. So it gets even more sad how we get to find out why Usopp lies. And he's lying about pirates coming because his father left when he was like a really young kid. And his mom is on the deathbed as he's screaming pirates are coming. And his mom's like literally on the brink of death when he's screaming out loud. And I was like, Jesus, man, this one tugged on my heartstrings. I forgot how emotional some of these backstories are. It's been a long time since I've read this again. I remember the anime was kind of sad, but I mean, that was a long time ago too. But damn, man, whew, these backstories are hurting me, my soul. I remember the one that made me cry really hard was the Robin one, but you know, we're gonna get there eventually. But overall, I'm enjoying. Now I'm starting to enjoy it again. These early One Piece chapters, like it's kind of like you kind of got to warm up to it. I don't think nostalgia is on this one as much. I think this one is like actually generally sad. Like, damn. But Miss Kaya says she's gonna be a doctor, and we get introduced to our ship, the Going Merry. We finally get to see it, and I thought that was a very iconic moment. And I think one of the funniest parts of this chapter is actually Usopp grabbing his things, and he's rolling down the hill of his house, and all of the stuff are in this bag, and he's like rolling down like a boulder. It kind of made me think of Crash Bandicoot for some reason. So he's rolling down, and Luffy and Zoro said, we better stop him, he might damage our ship. So they stop him, and then you see this nice shot of like Luffy and Zoro's feet just pressed up against Usopp's face.
Well, we better stop him. That weirdo is on a collision course with our boat.
Oh, hey, thanks, guys. Anytime.
I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I enjoyed this chapter. I think this one really tugged on the heartstrings a lot. So really, really good chapter, actually. I think this might be the best one of the volume so far. Definitely the highlight of the whole manga volume, volume 5 so far. But if you guys enjoy this, please support and like it, and let's carry on. Alright, so chapter 42 begins, and we see Luffy and the crew and everyone is celebrating with a big drink about their new ship and stuff. And we go and see Luffy drawing up a flag, and it's like really bad, and it's pretty funny. And then Usopp draws a map, right? Or not a map, sorry, a flag. It's just him, and it doesn't represent the Straw Hat crew, and it's just Zoro and Luffy just like whack him on the head. So then finally he draws one of the Straw Hat crew, and it's pretty awesome. I'm impressed, you know. Usopp is a lot better at drawing than I am. I can barely do a stick figure, so Usopp seems like he's pretty viable, and he's a hell of a shot, right? So we see them practicing cannon fire, and Luffy isn't very good at cannon fire, and so Usopp takes over, and he fires at this rock, and he's like, oh my god, I actually hit it. And then he's like, well, of course I hit it. Right? Like, Usopp is like second guessing himself. It's pretty funny. And we see that we get introduced to Johnny, right? And he's attacking the ship and stuff. And pretty funny moment that Zoro is the only one that seems to recognize him. So I kind of giggled at that we get introduced to Yosuke Johnny, and he's dying of scurvy. And was it Usopp? Usopp and Luffy don't know about scurvy, and he's like, how do you expect to sail the seas if you don't even know what scurvy is? I thought that was pretty funny. And we get introduced to both Yosuke, Johnny, and they talk about a ship cook. And a certain Hawkeye is present, you know. So we get introduced to a lot of characters, and we get some foreshadowing going on. So I'd say this is a pretty good setup chapter. Baratier arc, I remember really liking, even back in the day when I used to watch 4Kids, I remember liking that arc. Man, this is bringing back some serious nostalgia. So if you guys are enjoying this, please keep supporting it. Much love. I'll see you guys in the next chapter. And this one's called Sanji. So pretty exciting. Lots of nostalgia, right? So good chapter. My favorite moment, honestly, is probably the foreshadowing of Hawkeye, because you can see that Zoro's like kind of sweating. And what's so good about getting introduced to like endgame characters early on is so hype, right? I'm enjoying this. So I'll see you guys in the next chapter. We'll talk more about it. So we're jumping right into chapter 43, and I'm enjoying this one a lot, actually. Seeing all these familiar faces and characters getting introduced again. Big nostalgia trip. We get introduced to Sanji in this chapter, and it was pretty good. I love seeing that we get introduced to Iron Fist full body, and he seems to just one-shot Yosaku Johnny. I thought that was pretty funny. Luffy comments on how pathetic they are and weak they are. Luffy's kind of an asshole, I noticed, right? Like he's definitely an ass, but full body decides to shoot a cannonball at the Straw Hats, and Luffy deflects it with his gum balloon, and he launches it directly back towards the restaurant instead of the Navy ship. So that was pretty goofy, and it ends up hitting Chef Zeph, the owner of the restaurant. So Luffy has to work to pay off his debt for a full year. And Luffy's like, what? A whole year? And I just thought that was pretty funny. And as we see, Sanji is flirting with this girl, and Lieutenant Fullbody says there's a fly in his soup, and we see that Sanji's like flirting with his girlfriend, and Sanji says to the guy, he's like, it looks to me like the fly is doing a backstroke, and we see that Fullbody just like loses his temper and just destroys the freaking table. And then Sanji just freaking one-shots him, and he's like, you ever disrespect your cook at sea, you signed your own death warrant. And it's like, ooh. So we see that Sanji's actually not a slouch. Pretty funny that we get introduced to Lieutenant Fullbody just to show off how strong Sanji is. Kind of funny. But yeah. Favorite moment of the chapter? I like Sanji's introduction. I think he can cook, he can kick some serious ass, and he's a hard simp. So I thought that was pretty funny. Overall, solid chapter. Let me know your guys' favorite moments in these earliest chapters below. I hope you guys enjoy, and we're going to finish the volume with chapter 44. So we're going into chapter 44, right? And we see the fact that all the cooks are basically just like deranged and psychotic and kind of all like really tough, right? So if you disrespect them, right, they'll literally beat the living crap out of you. And I love this chapter a lot because we see that we get some foreshadowing at the Craig Pirates, and we see that one of the crew members shoots a Navy officer in the face before walking in the restaurant. I thought that was pretty intense. And Luffy and Zephyr basically getting like into a fight upstairs. I thought that was pretty funny. This chapter had some pretty funny moments in it. I think the best part though from this chapter for me was that Sanji gets introduced as a character in the last chapter, but in this chapter we really get to see kind of what kind of person he is. So you disrespect him at all, he'll beat the crap out of you. So I thought that was pretty interesting, that he's just like balls to the wall, kind of just a real like mean motherfucker if you disrespect him, especially food. So he's like a true cook to its heart. And we see that Zeph is like gets pissed off at Sanji for beating the crap out of a Navy officer for disrespecting food. And so Zeph beat and like kicks Sanji in the face, and he kicks the lieutenant. I thought that was pretty cool. And we see that one of the Craig pirates that I was talking about, and he sits down and he's like, food, give me food. And then one of the chefs comes up and he's like, hello, Squid Face, what can we get you today? And then one of the Craig pirates is like, do you take lead? And he just points the gun at him, and then he gets freaking knocked flat on his ass by Patty, I believe his name is. And I thought that was funny that all the cooks know how to fight. So this restaurant, Baratier, is no joke. They're all just actually just pirates. So we see that one of the Craig pirate members, he gets up and he's like, please, food, right? So Sanji gets up and makes this guy food, even though he doesn't have money to pay for it. So Sanji's the real MVP at this point. We see that. And overall, I enjoy this chapter a lot. He ends up feeding him. And I think this is a solid volume. I think we're fine. I think One Piece is finally getting good. If I take nostalgia goggles off, I think this is the volume that One Piece actually starts getting into its kind of like flow. We really start to finally get into it. And I know, like, I know what's coming, but like reading it again, like I really see that Oda knows what he wants to do with the story, and he's really starting to kind of like get his groove. So volume 5 is a solid one. I would give it, honestly, if I take nostalgia away, I'd give it like a 6. If I have nostalgia, it's an 8. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all so much. Volume 6 can come out sooner. I don't know. It just depends. If you guys support it and we get at least 100 views, I'll try and push out volume 6 sooner. Otherwise, I'm going to try to just do a weekly upload at this point. So much love. Thank you everybody for the support, and I can't wait to get further into it, and I'll try to see you guys next week. So take care, everybody. I hope you had a fun Halloween, everyone. I am currently filming this on Halloween, so you guys all have a great week. I'll see you guys next time. GG's.